Okay, boxing fans, I'm going to do my prediction now for Floyd Mayweather versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather is 44 wins undefeated. Saul Canelo Alvarez is 42 wins undefeated with a draw thrown in there too. Basically, this is a super fight, or it's been billed as a super fight. However, when I asked a lot of people who's going to win this fight on Twitter, I got 100% people saying Floyd Mayweather is going to win this fight. The only debate is on if it's a split decision, a decision or a knockout. And, 50-50 split on that, which is quite a whitewash considering that this is supposed to be a super fight. You'd assume that there'll be a contingent of people suggesting that, Canelo's going to win. But none of them have spoke to me, at least. So, let's move on to the pre-fight issues. Fights at a catchweight up 152 pounds. Mayweather said he was never going to fight at catchweight, but that all changed when he got in the ring with Canelo. Nah, I don't mind catchweights. I didn't mind it when Pacquiao did it. Don't mind it when Mayweather's doing it. Life's too short. Boxing careers too short for people to moan about shit like catchweights. Could it affect Canelo's power negatively? Possibly. Could it affect his speed negatively? Possibly. Could it affect his stamina negatively? Possibly. Yeah. But the only good thing about that is, Canelo does have a perfect excuse should he lose this fight, and that he can say he was weight trained. And Mexicans, I'm telling you, man, they will eat that up like fresh burrito. So yeah, getting into the attributes then, we're going to start with the power. And who do I give the power to? Well, I'm going to give it to Saul Canelo Alvarez. To be honest, this is the only advantage Canelo's got over his opponent Floyd Mayweather. He hits a lot harder, he's significantly bigger than Floyd Mayweather. In fact, I'd say his punches are so heavy-handed he has the ability to, pick his opponents off the floor sometimes, like he did with the body shots he landed on Josecito Lopez. He was able to literally lift Lopez off his feet. But you have to go watch that fight for that. That was a good fight, even though that Josecito Lopez was a guy who had never fought 154 pounds and only fought at 147 once, so you've got to take a bit away from him from that. At the same time, let's look at Floyd Mayweather. He does have a degree of heavy-handedness at the weight of 147 and even above. However, at those weights he just does not have the work rate or the power to stop top quality opposition. The only question is Canelo a top quality opponent? I'll let you decide on that. A good example would be the Guerrero fight, where Floyd Mayweather had Guerrero in all types of trouble in the 8th round, at which point the majority of contenders and even title holders would probably push on for the stoppage, and a lot of them, they would have got it, because like I said, Guerrero was in all types of trouble in the 8th round. Floyd didn't even try to get a stoppage, he didn't step on the gas. He definitely could have got it though, and he could have won me some money, but he didn't do it. He just counter-punched, moved, and pretty much let Guerrero off the hook, even though he said he didn't like him. I would have thought he would have tried to stop him really, but he didn't. He let him off, and he just coasted to a unanimous decision victory. Moving on to the speed, and like I said, Floyd Mayweather has the speed advantage over his opponent Saul Canelo Alvarez. His one punch speed is lightning quick. His previous fight pretty much showed and showcased his one punch speed and just how good it is when he used his speed of punch and movement, his foot speed too, to totally bamboozle an overmatched and overhyped opponent in Robert Guerrero, who, to be honest, didn't have any method of victory that he could have followed to beat Mayweather, because he didn't have the power, he didn't have the speed, he didn't have the boxing ability, he didn't have anything really to beat Mayweather. The only thing I would say about Alvarez, like I said, is he does have the power, the explosiveness. It's what he does have, but like I said, man, he's still not got a lot of things going for him in this fight. Moving on to Canelo, he's a lot slower in all variations opposed to Mayweather. His foot speed, hand speed, one punch, speed, just stuff like that. It's just not as fast as Mayweather. But to his credit, he does have explosiveness. He can throw the combinations quickly. He can switch from head to body fast. these are all short-term attributes, you know what I'm saying, but Canelo, he just can't keep that up for a long period of time, which is what he would need to do when he's fighting Mayweather. But at least he's got something in terms of, he's got some variation of speed in terms of explosiveness, and he's got the power to try and, you know, hurt Mayweather, which was, you know, something that Guerrero didn't have. He had nothing. At least Canelo's got something. Moving on to the movement, you know, Floyd has got better movement than Canelo in all aspects, not even up for debate. Okay, this one's a hard one to judge on. I mean, the chin, who's got the better chin, you know? Firstly, Mayweather, you know, coming from the lower weights, you wouldn't suggest if he was taking clean punches from Canelo, he'll be able to stand up to them, but the truth of the matter is, Floyd Mayweather doesn't get hit on his chin that often, so you got to really say he's got the better chin because he doesn't get tagged that often. Looking at Canelo, he has been wobbled from time to time, but if you look at Floyd Mayweather, he doesn't have either the work rate or the power to knock out Canelo. The more likely option is that Canelo gets absolutely shattered and is just so weight drained that he quits on his stool. You know, he's got nothing going for him, lost every single round, and he just quits. But then if he quits, his career is pretty much over. You can't quit in boxing today because you just called every name under the sun. You know what I'm saying? Last thing to talk about would be the experience. Floyd Mayweather has also got the experience. He's got, you know, he's been in the bigger fights, made more money, fought the better opponents. There's no way you can cut it, really. Canelo's inferior to Mayweather in pretty much every aspect except for power. The only thing that Canelo's got is size and power, and size and power can only take you so far. If you can't land that power, that size, then, you know, how are you going to win the fight if you can't land? He's going to be too slow in this fight. He's not going to be able to land his shots. Mayweather's going to do the exact same thing he did against Guerrero. Stick and move, stick and move, stick and move. One punch, brilliant shot, and he moves off. Canelo misses. Just shit like that for the whole 12 rounds, really. I say unanimous decision. The only way I see a stoppage is, yeah, like I said, the only way I see a stoppage is if Canelo quits, but I don't see that. I'll bet my life savings pretty much on, you know, Mayweather unanimous decision.